will tackle this different aspect of how the Asian Development Bank promotes, exacerbates this culture of impunity and impunity by corporations and by states. We've heard so many examples since this morning of how the different projects and policies of the Asian Development Bank basically constitute propagating a culture of impunity. The burden, the costs, the environmental, social, human rights costs are borne by the affected communities. In the first round, we want to zero in on the question of how exactly the Asian Development Bank propagates this and promotes or exacerbates this culture of impunity by states and corporations. What are the different mechanisms? What are the impacts to communities? The second round will tackle the issue of around community demands and concern, but primarily around the aspect of how much voice and avenues of justice do affected people have. If they've used the ATD accountability mechanism for different mechanisms for exactly accountability inside like the inspection panel, has that worked for the benefit of the community? Then the last portion, because we want to bring down the Asian Development Bank, and what limit its power, its stronghold in the region. We want to discuss the strategies and actions that communities and advocates have used, and what works and what doesn't work. And then we'll open the floor for questions, comments, suggestions.
Some of the projects what ADB has tried out in the countries and they have imposed into our government. They were imposing to change the law with benefit sharing with the private sector. That's where really the civil society was against to that. On one side they are proposing, they call it after the war, and we are declaring development. And they want to build highways, they want to build not the highways, they want to build the super highways. The project, what we can see, there are no proper people's consultation or the people's the views on those projects, and they are not respecting the participation. This government officials, they are thinking, oh, this would be helpful to the people, and they just proposing what the ADBs and also the Chinese projects and also the World Bank and the IMF projects. They are not sometimes respecting to our own law. They are trying to get some of the civil society groups into their hand, giving some the small project to the community level organization, and they are trying to make up their own CSO allies. Space are shrinking for the civil society, but in the other hand, there is a big space to play on with the as a responsible civil society organization in the country.
Since we knew already that the establishing or the corporate project is really hazardous to the health of the people, and especially it will really destroy the habitat. In the beginning, we already protested or go against the project. Aside from there was no massive consultation among the affected communities, is the content in Masinloc. It started with the fund coming from ADB. Does the ADB propagate the culture of impunity? They collaborate with the government in terms of propagating this project, such as Code Plan. Experience in Zambales, in particular in Masinloc, we were militarized. There were 3 detachments of military in different barangays in Masinloc, very near to the area of Code Plan. Its ill effects to the health, especially. There were also this massive dislocation of the families. There should be the voice of the people, but since the government officials are the one representing us, they thought that it's enough for the government officials to be consulted. So really there is a impunity on this, because it's not only the dislocation, but the domino effect in the lives of the people. As you have said, changing the policy of the government, because it's clearly stated in our Constitution that the government should promote balanced ecology. In the succeeding slides, you can see there how the marine protected areas are being destroyed. In other words, they were telling us a misleading picture of development. Because for us, the real meaning of development is in which you can continue living peacefully, productively in a community which you can also pass on to the next generation. How can we pass on this kind of community that we have now? The ADBs, the one funding it, they should be a collaborative process with the government to protect the areas supported by their fund. And in fact, that was alone. And who shouldered and whose burden? The people, the community, and even us today.
We see ADB not just immune from the national law, but also through their own policy. ADB, on top of the chapters of agreements, which is they are protected from any legal action, but also they also ask every government when they provide loan to sign another agreement to make sure that they are not responsible for any legal obligation brought by the government, consultant, or the third party, which is a community. In this situation, that's why I think it's time, 50 years, we all need to discuss how we can go beyond this, because we've been going through the process for many years already, and we all know that it's not working. So why we have to do that? In the railway case, for example, in late 2011, before we filed a complaint to the COP, we tried to engage with the president. We wrote a letter, and our letter got to the hands of the government. Can you believe this? So this is not just keeping our space, not just protecting us, but also make us in a very bad situation. So as a result of that, the government called us, for questioning. They almost closed us down, and they accuse us of trying to block the developments of the country and trying to incite people to protest against the government. ADB has not done anything to keep our space or protect the most vulnerable people on the ground.
But ADB has supported development in Laos for many years. But I feel that ADB doesn't take the situation very seriously. I mean that and the ADB finance this project, and the banks advertise this project as a model of sustainable development and model of poverty reduction. So ADB justified its involvement in Namkeen by promising to contribute improvement environmental and social management policies of the country. But in reality, it fails to achieve compliance of safeguards and also the policies which are supported by ADB are hardly being implemented. So this is one example. ADB supported to issue national public involvement guidelines for most of the hydropower projects in Laos. We cannot find public information centers, and we cannot get draft of EIA in that country. Having safeguard policy cannot be an excuse for maintaining immunity. The ADB may explain that. So we have safeguards, so we can secure social and environmental considerations with safeguards. But if we look at this reality, ADB fails to observe their safeguard. So my question is, if we can remove immunity from ADB, can we change the situation. So I would like to discuss your question.
So, in your experiences, what type of strategies and action do people do in order to limit or at least demand accountability from the bank and to stop or at least limit the culture of impunity from the government?
Just like what we have already done, continue organizing the people, continue giving them social awareness, because this is the only thing that we can do this time, aside from, of course, lobbying, going to the streets, and so many other mechanisms that we could do among our rank. Government should really understand its mandate that to protect the people, they should bear in mind that the laws, that our human rights should be promoted, fulfilled, protected, and enjoy the people with our participation in changing our system of government.
We have to build network among our friends, and we have to start challenge the practices. As the civil society, my organization, for example, we trying to create a way that we can document who are the financiers, who are the company behind the project. We have the project called Follow the Money, for example. We document and we try to challenge. And when we know who behind that project, we can do many things. And I'm very positive that if we all work together, it is possible that we can challenge the ADB immunity.
From the beginning, they have to give the proper information to the community. And as much as possible, we have to publish the whatever information what we are having, and we have to clear spell out what's the project, how it is going to be happen, and what are the impacts can be happen, and all that has to be given with the written ways. And sometimes the people can't read, and therefore we have used some the street dramas, different ways to educate people. I think we have to use those, some of the cultural system, cultural event we can use to educate people.
Strategy to deal with the program, because actually for the Namjoon project in house, we had 10 years against campaign against the project, but we also conducted a lot of survey, and we tried to everything to stop the project, documenting the gaps between reality and their promises and realities. This is the mission of IMI, to support improving the environmental and social standards of the government. So one of our role is communicate with our government and also ADB to remind their promises. And otherwise they will start to continue and repeat their favors.
Can I get maybe we can have a couple of rounds of questions because we have time. So, one, who else wants to ask a question or comment?
Seems like the people, no matter what they do, at the end of the day, will not make the Asian Development Bank accountable because of all the immunity losses that we have discussed. Unless we challenge this system, unless we challenge this corrupt and oppressive system that births out this culture of impunity and all the problems that we have discussed a while ago, nothing will happen. That we have to strengthen our political base, organize, go back to the basic sectors. We have to organize, we have to strengthen our political base, we have to multiply our ranks, and tell to the world that, hey, we will not remain silent in this blatant atrocities done by the Asian Development Bank and all the imperialist forces behind Asian Development Bank. So unless we introduce a new system that will challenge this system, I think we cannot make Asian Development Bank accountable.
Making space for me is space is what you create, no? and what you lose. And shrinking space could be likened to some kind of order. I don't know if you are referring to a kind of trend in the region already, that there is a shrinking space. Because you can get another idea that will tell you there's expanding space somewhere else. So that's how do you then judge the balance? What's the balance of that? You need something to some handle, and some handle that would combine political and legal to be able to do it. And something that we can propose that we have to be able to implement.
Everybody is called development organization. Now the terminology is not even donor, development partner. The whole terminology has also shifted, as Gani will say, from those then to now. And I would like us to also remind one very important point Gani made this morning. We protested against the lack of transparency, etc., etc. And perhaps unwittingly we helped them. Because then they came up with this policy, but we also had our own victories, you know. But I think we also need to look at the current political context or what has changed. And I think today more than any other time, a strong political economy analysis, a strong political analysis of how there is a new form of imperialism and new forms of colonialism are being pushed through these banks. I think that's very, very important. The case of Guatemala, where indigenous people protested and the response was they were gunned down by the military. And the World Bank said, we didn't do this. And it was very interesting, even the most conservative, there were 12 commissioners, got up and said, this is unacceptable. You finance a project in which this happened. You are culpable. So if everybody in society turned their face away when a crime is happening, what kind of society would we be, right? So I think, and brought up this point that culpability is not only who holds the gun and fires it. Culpability is also who orders it, and who finances it, and who enables the crime.
Really the system, the whole social, economic, political and cultural system that needs to be changed. But we have to take each step. All of us will have to take the steps that are relevant to our particular sector, our particular community, our particular concern. So we're all in this together. But at the same time, we also need to really look closely, examine, evaluate, investigate on what is the system that we want to take the place of the existing system. We're fighting a global system, not just a national system. So that is what we need to look into.
On the first objective, I think we heard a range of issues being raised by affected communities, from no transparency or lack of transparency, no consultation or token consultation in the case of Laos. And we also saw issues around the efforts of the ADB itself to influence governments' perspectives in favor of private sector demands, as was what Tilak shared in the case of Sri Lanka. And the issues of divisions created within communities, where the ADB sort of creates its own allies, and that sort of divides the communities between those who favor the projects and those who oppose the projects. It's about health and environment concerns, dislocation of families and the problems with relocation, and the false promises of work, livelihood, free transportation, and electricity. In the discussion, we said, how can we pin down the ADB to identify some ways by which we link the issue of ADB immunity with the broader issue of culture of impunity. Imposing conditionalities that require amendment to laws and changing of laws for the benefit of private sector on the one hand, and on the other hand, its failure to comply to even its own policies and to force governments to comply with its own laws, then ADB is culpable. The ADB exercises its power and influence to change laws as long as these laws favor its commercial interests and the interests of the private sector. But then it says it's powerless to demand governments to enforce laws and its own policies. So that's a very clear contradiction. By continuing to support projects that violate the laws is culpable. We are saying that the ADB is culpable as well in quelling the opposition to these projects and the criminalization of dissent. It creates and strengthens its own allies that go against communities that actually are expressing or resisting these projects and policies. Culpable when it collaborates with government to continue to push these projects. It is culpable to the militarization that is happening in support of this project. Continuing to push projects in countries where there are human rights violations, corruption. So ADB is in effect condoning, supporting, and promoting these regimes. And by its silence, it's also culpable by its silence on critical issues like human rights violations and enforced disappearances. The broader architecture of impunity, where governments are allowed to violate its own laws and ignore people's rights, and where corporations violate people's rights and destroy the environment. We need to continue to organize and raise people's awareness. Changing hearts and minds on the banks, as what Vuti said. No? It's important that the banks are not seen as development actors, no? But really as businesses that profit from the destruction of nature and from the violation of people's rights. To explore different ways of educating people through perhaps more cultural forms. And then there are new spaces, as what Vuti also said. Litigation is emerging as a possible new space. Filing of legal cases in courts and even in such venues like the ICC. In the wake of shrinking spaces, we need to continue to find ways to open up new spaces and also expand spaces. So I think all in all, it was a very fruitful discussion, and I think we were able to touch on and accomplish those three broad objectives.